You only have 24 hours in Bergen, Norway? How do you make every second count? Don't worry, I've been there, and I'm here to show you exactly how to experience the best of Bergen in just one day. Let's make it unforgettable. Bergen is a city that feels like a fairy tale. It's where history meets nature, and every corner has a story to tell. My journey started at Bryggen, the iconic UNESCO World Heritage Site. These colorful wooden buildings have stood here since the 14th century, and walking through them feels like stepping back in time. I couldn't help but imagine the merchants trading fish and spices centuries ago. It's magical. This charming city is famous for its natural beauty, rich history, and delicious seafood. I will show you exactly how to experience the best of Bergen in just 24 hours. Start your day early here. The morning light hitting the buildings is pure magic, and you'll beat the crowds. Grab a coffee, wander the alleys, and let the history sink in. In my one-day Bergen itinerary, you'll get specific suggestions on how to use your limited time in the city. Still, I recommend allowing yourself a few moments to wander around and see where you end up. The best time to visit Bergen is from May to September, when the weather is mild and there are plenty of daylight hours. But did you know that Bergen is actually the rainiest city in Norway and one of the top 5 wettest cities in Europe, with an average of 239 rainy days a year? So make sure you come armed with your umbrella. Despite being Norway's second largest city with around 280,000 people, Bergen feels intimate and is often called Norway's cultural capital due to its artistic atmosphere and rich history. Now, let's talk about how to get to Bergen. The easiest way is by flying into Bergen International Airport, only about 20 kilometers from the city center. I found the airport sleek and modern with that distinctive Scandinavian design. To get to the city center, you have several options. The cheapest option is to take the light rail, which costs 47 Norwegian kroner and takes 45 to 55 minutes. There's also the express airport bus, which is faster at 35 minutes for 169 Norwegian kroner. Or you can splurge on a taxi for 400 to 500 Norwegian kroner, which will get you there in 20 to 25 minutes. If you're coming from Oslo, consider taking the train. It's considered one of the most beautiful train journeys in the world. However, it does take around 8 hours, so it's better for those with more time. Get around Bergen. Consider getting a Bergen card, which gives you free entry or discounted admission to some museums and attractions, and free travel on buses and light rail. A 24-hour pass costs 380 Norwegian kroner for adults and 100 Norwegian kroner for kids. You can purchase it at various selling points, including the airport, the Bergen Tourist Information Center, or from selected hotels. You can also buy a digital version online. I did get a Bergen card for my trip, but I'll share my thoughts on whether it's worth it later in the video. Since Bergen is a compact city, you can easily explore most of the main attractions on foot, which I did for most of my visit. Now, let's dive into the perfect one-day itinerary for Bergen. My day started with checking into the Radisson Blu Royal Hotel and immediately heading out to explore Bryggen. If there's one place that is undeniably Bergen, this is it. This iconic UNESCO World Heritage Site with its brightly colored wooden houses reminds us of Bergen's importance as a former Hanseatic trading town. Despite numerous fires over the centuries, some 62 buildings remain standing today. Many have been repurposed into shops and restaurants while retaining their unique architecture. After exploring Bryggen, I headed to the Floyen funicular, which whisked me up to the top of Mount Floyen. The ride takes just 8 minutes, but the views? Absolutely breathtaking. When I reached the top, I was speechless. Bergen looked like a tiny model city, surrounded by mountains and water. It's one of those moments you have to see for yourself. The funicular departs every 30 minutes, and a return ticket costs 130 Norwegian kroner for adults, though I got a discounted rate of 65 Norwegian kroner with my Bergen card. The top of Mount Floyen offers one of Bergen's most famous viewpoints, overlooking the city and its surrounding peaks. On a clear day, the panoramic views are absolutely breathtaking. There's a restaurant and a small playground at the top, along with a giant troll statue, making for a great photo opportunity. If you have time, there are extensive walking trails, including the Troll Forest Trail with wooden sculptures of trolls and other mythical creatures. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes to walk down this trail back to the city center. The fresh mountain air was exactly what I needed to recharge. This is the perfect way to connect with nature and get those Insta-worthy shots.
And forests the earth takes a bow, wrapped in winter's quilt or summer's soft glow. Waterfalls whisper where mountains stand tall, on tracks to a journey that beckons.
By this time, I was starving, so I headed to the Bergen fish market for lunch. This place is a food lover's paradise. This bustling market offers a wide variety of seafood, including king crabs, tuna, shrimp, and even whale meat. Many stalls offer ready-to-eat dishes, and there's also a flexible paluto concept, similar to what we have in the Philippines, where you can choose your seafood and have it cooked to your liking. I tried the smoked salmon. It was so fresh. It practically melted in my mouth, and the fish soup, which was creamy and packed with flavor. Don't miss the fish cakes either. They're a local favorite. Just be forewarned, some selections here are ridiculously overpriced, so check the prices before ordering. I spent about 400 Norwegian kroner on lunch. After lunch, I treated myself to some traditional Norwegian brunost ice cream at Hallesen Ice Cream and Desserts, which offered a unique taste of Norway's famous brown cheese in frozen form. After lunch, I explored the Bergenhus Fortress, one of Norway's oldest and best preserved fortresses. Walking through the Rosenkrantz Tower and Hakon's Hall, I felt like I was in a Viking saga. The history here is incredible, and the harbor views from the fortress walls are stunning. This is a must-visit for history buffs, but the atmosphere alone is worth it, even if you're not. Plus, it's right by the water, so you can easily combine it with a stroll along the harbor. After noon, I decided to immerse myself in Bergen's cultural scene by visiting the Kode Art Museums and the nearby Bergen Kunsthall. The Kode is actually a complex of buildings spread out along the edge of the city park, holding rotating exhibits, contemporary art installations, cafes, and a bookshop. With my Bergen card, admission was free, saving me the regular 175 Norwegian kroner entrance fee. As luck would have it, some of the Kode buildings were closed during my visit, so I gravitated toward the nearby Bergen Kunsthall, which hosts contemporary art installations by Norwegian and international artists. It's a small space that easily adapts to various art forms. It also has a bookshop and a nice cafe bar called Landmark. During my visit, there were a few conceptual art pieces and an earthworks exhibition. I only wandered around for about 10 minutes, since it was free with my Bergen card. As the day began to wind down, I made my way to St. Mary's Church, the oldest existing building in Bergen, presumed to be built between 1130 and 1170. This unassuming Romanesque-style church has been continuously used since the early medieval period. It's a minor attraction, but still worth visiting if you're going to Bergen's Fortress complex. The entrance fee is usually 95 Norwegian kroner for adults, but it was free with my Bergen card. From there, I continued to the Rosenkrantz Tower, considered Norway's most important Renaissance structure. This 13th century tower was the former residence of Magnus the Lawmender, the King of Norway, from 1238 to 1280. You can navigate through low doorways and steep staircases from the tower's basement dungeon to the cannon loft. The entrance fee was 150 Norwegian kroner and wasn't covered by my Bergen card. The highlight of my day? The Fjord cruise. Bergen is surrounded by some of the most beautiful fjords in the world, and seeing them up close was a dream come true. The water was calm, the mountains majestic, and the air fresh. I even spotted a few seals lounging on the rocks. Book your cruise in advance. It's worth it. I chose a 2-hour tour. It was the perfect way to experience the fjords without taking up the whole day. If you're short on time, there are shorter options too. Next to the Rosenkrantz Tower is King Hakon's Hall, a massive 3-story royal residence and banquet hall constructed in the 13th century. Several Norwegian monarchs were crowned here in its nearly 700 years of existence. It's a national cultural monument for royal occasions and other important national events today. It's a reminder of Bergen's political importance as Norway's then capital. Sadly, the hall was closed when I visited, so I just admired it from the outside. The entrance fee is usually 120 Norwegian kroner for adults, but it's free with the Bergen card. After a full day of exploration, I ate dinner at Pinocchio Mat og Vinbar, a top-rated restaurant in Bergen that offers simple, fresh, yet refined dishes that delight the palate. The fried goat cheese was particularly delicious. So, is one day enough for Bergen? While I had a delightful day and saw many of the city's highlights, I wished I had more time to explore at a more leisurely pace. If you have just one day like I did, you can undoubtedly experience the essence of Bergen, but you'll need to be strategic with your time. For those curious, my one-day trip to Bergen cost approximately 1,665 Norwegian kroner, excluding flights. This included my Bergen card, 380 Norwegian kroner, one night at the Radisson Blue Royal Hotel, 670 Norwegian kroner, the Floyen funicular, 65 Norwegian kroner, with Bergen card discount, lunch at the fish market, 400 Norwegian kroner, and the Rosenkrantz Tower, 150 Norwegian kroner. Was the Bergen card worth it? For my specific itinerary, I found it to be underwhelming compared to other city cards. You get your money's worth if you visit at least 2 museums and use public transportation, but many top attractions only offer discounts rather than free entry. It was the perfect way to end my day in Bergen. Bergen is a city that stays with you. The people, food, and views are also special. Even with just 24 hours, I felt like I really understood what makes this place so unique. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more travel guides. Let me know in the comments what the first thing you do in Bergen is. Until next time, stay blessed and travel forever on.